My name is Otto Scharmer. I'm a senior lecturer here at MIT and founding chair of the Presencing Institute. When we approach the current moment from a systems thinking lens, the first thing we pay attention to is what's visible to the eye. If you want to use the iceberg model as an analogy for systems thinking, it's the top level, the visible part that's above the waterline. So if you go from place to place, if you go from country to country these days, you're of course going to see different things in different contexts. But I'm really struck how much the current reality in just about every place you go, in every country you go, is shaped by three universal conditions. And the first condition is something that I call the ecological divide, that is manifesting in the phenomena of rapidly increasing climate change and massively increasing biodiversity loss. And we all are aware of these phenomena, and at the heart of that phenomenon really is a profound disconnect between self and nature. That's the first universal condition. The second one is connected to something I call the social divide, that is manifesting in rapidly increasing polarization in societies, in rapidly increasing social inequalities, and also in the increase in terms of violence and war. So essentially, the second universal condition deals with a phenomenon that can be described as societies beginning to fall apart, beginning to lose their connection or their capacity to make sense together and to respond together to the challenges that we face in this century, precisely in the moment where it's needed most. At the heart of this second condition really is a disconnect, a profound disconnect between self and other. But then there's a third disconnect and a third universal condition. And that one is manifesting in all the phenomena around this collective sense of depression, this collective sense of there's nothing really we can do about all this. And this collective sense of helplessness and hopelessness. It has to do with a disconnect between self and self, between who I am today and who I could be tomorrow. So it's a disconnect between my current experience and my own capacity to access my true sources of creativity and of self. And that's something that I call, that could be called the inner or the spiritual divide. So these three divides, the ecological divide, the social divide, and the spiritual divide, really describe well, I would say, the surface level of what we are seeing going on today. But then, if we now move one level down, right, not only what do we see, but also what do we sense, right? What is it we can feel actually in the current moment? And I think that's where it gets a whole lot more interesting. I am really struck by a development that's not much noticed thus far, but that has to do with a profound shift that's, even though it's invisible to many, that I believe has a profound significance for our journey forward. And that's a shift in consciousness. It's a shift in awareness. It's the birth of an awareness that profound change is afoot and that we have to play a role in that I have to play a role in that. And you see more and more really interesting initiatives, often it's place-based initiatives, taking shape and beginning to cultivate the seeds of the future that will be so important going forward. Most people, most leaders today, when you talk to them privately, one-on-one, they agree with you that yes, we are heading in the wrong direction, right, as a whole system. And yes, personally, when you ask me personally, I want to be part of a different story, but I don't know how. That the tools, the methods and tools that I got as an equipment through my education of the past are a misfit to what I'm experiencing now. I don't know how. And it's kind of that sense that I believe is very widely shared across the planet right now. According to a recent study, 3 out of 4 people in G20 countries have this feeling. They are in support of a transformation of our economy to better address climate change, to better address social inequality, and yet the collective action isn't quite manifesting yet. Theory U is about the methods and tools that allow us to not only reflect and learn from our experiences of the past, but to connect with and sense emerging future possibilities. And then to operate from that awareness, both as an individual and also collectively.